The ocean keeps its secrets well. On the southern edge of Long Island, Gilgo Beach stretches for miles, endless dunes, whispering grass, the rhythmic crash of the Atlantic. To anyone passing by, it looks peaceful. But under that calm surface lies one of the darkest mysteries in American history. For years, the sand here hid something unspeakable, a trail of death that went unnoticed, buried beneath the illusion of safety. Gilgo Beach was supposed to be an escape, a place where families came to watch the sunset, where fishermen cast their lines at dawn. But in 2010, that illusion shattered. It began with a missing woman and ended with the discovery of a graveyard. Before that day, few people even thought of Gilgo Beach as dangerous. It was isolated, yes, but not frightening. Locals talked about strange lights sometimes, about voices carried by the wind, but no one believed anything sinister could happen here. That would change forever when police began to search for Shannan Gilbert, a young woman who vanished nearby after a frantic 911 call. They weren't looking for a killer, not yet. They were just searching for her, but instead of one missing woman, they found 4. The discovery was horrifying. Bodies wrapped in burlap, scattered within a short stretch of Ocean Parkway. Each woman had gone missing months earlier, each one connected by the same grim pattern, last seen alive after answering online ads. The media descended instantly. "Serial killer on Long Island," the headlines read. The peace of this small coastal town was gone. Reporters camped near the dunes. Police combed every inch of sand. Families waited by their phones. The name Gilgo Beach would never sound the same again. The killer's choice of location was no accident. Gilgo is quiet, secluded, and eerily isolated, perfect for someone who knows the tides, who understands that the sea erases evidence. Every wave that hits the shore washes away footprints, tire tracks, fragments of truth. For years, the ocean was his accomplice. As detectives stared out over the dark water, one thought kept echoing in their minds. How many more are out there? Even now, when the sun sets over Gilgo Beach, the horizon looks beautiful, too beautiful to hide such horror. The waves still move in rhythm, as if whispering the same quiet warning to anyone who listens closely enough. Evil doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it walks in the sunlight, right beside you. It all began with a voice on the phone, terrified, gasping for air. On the night of May 1st, 2010, 24-year-old Shannan Gilbert ran through the dark streets of Oak Beach, screaming for help. She called 911, repeating over and over again, "They're trying to kill me." But by the time police arrived, she was gone, vanished into the marshlands that border the coast. What happened in those final minutes remains one of the greatest mysteries of the case. For months, her family begged for answers. Authorities insisted she had gotten lost, disoriented. But her mother, Rex Gilbert, refused to believe that. She knew her daughter, and she knew something evil was hiding out there. When police began searching for Shannan, they didn't find her. Instead, they found death. 4 bodies, 4 women, all wrapped in burlap, hidden near Ocean Parkway, just miles from where Shannan disappeared. The search for one missing woman had uncovered the work of a serial killer. Shannan's desperate call had opened the door to a nightmare that would haunt Long Island for years to come. December 2010. The wind was cold, the air heavy with salt and silence. Officers combing through the dunes near Gilgo Beach weren't expecting to find anything that day, just another sweep for the missing Shannan Gilbert. But then, a K-9 unit stopped. Beneath a thin layer of sand lay a burlap sack. Inside, human remains. Within days, 3 more bodies were uncovered, all along the same stretch of Ocean Parkway. The women were all young, all missing for months, all sex workers who had vanished under eerily similar circumstances. The police realized they weren't dealing with one disappearance anymore. They were standing in the middle of a graveyard. The scene was haunting. Officers digging under the gray sky, reporters gathering behind yellow tape, the ocean roaring in the distance. 4 victims, 4 stories silenced. The media erupted. A serial killer on Long Island. The phrase spread like wildfire, and fear swept through the quiet coastal communities. Who had done this? Why here? And how long had the killer been hiding in plain sight? Every shovel of sand uncovered more questions, and a growing sense that the beach itself was keeping a secret too big to stay buried forever. They were more than headlines, more than names written beneath the words Gilgo 4, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. 4 young women, daughters, sisters, friends, each trying to survive in a world that rarely showed them mercy. They disappeared between 2007 and 2010, each vanishing without a trace. For years, their families searched, called, hoped, only to find silence on the other end. When their bodies were discovered on Gilgo Beach, the truth hit like a wave of grief and rage. These weren't just victims of a killer. They were victims of indifference, of a system that didn't look hard enough, that didn't listen soon enough. Photos of the women filled the news, smiling faces, selfies, fragments of lives that once were. Behind every image was a story, a family that never stopped waiting for a knock on the door. The media called them the Forgotten, but their names refused to fade. The Gilgo murders had taken everything from them, but their faces would become symbols, reminders that every statistic hides a human being, every case number a heartbeat. And though their voices were silenced, their memory began to speak louder than ever before. As the number of victims grew, so did the pressure. The quiet town of Gilgo Beach became the center of a nationwide obsession. Helicopters hovered above the dunes, reporters flooded the streets, and every news channel demanded answers the police didn't yet have. The Suffolk County Police Department launched one of the largest investigations in Long Island history. Hundreds of officers, FBI profilers, and forensic teams worked day and night, combing through cell phone records, surveillance footage, and missing persons files that stretched back years. But every lead seemed to vanish into the same fog that rolled off the Atlantic. The killer was careful. He knew the area, knew the risks, and seemed to anticipate every move investigators made. Detectives spoke in cautious tones during press conferences, refusing to reveal too much. The media, meanwhile, filled the silence with theories, from police corruption to multiple killers working together. Talk shows, podcasts, documentaries, all fed the growing hysteria. The public demanded justice, and the families of the victims demanded truth. Yet, as weeks turned into years, Gilgo Beach faded from the front pages. The case went cold. But somewhere out there, the person responsible was still watching, still waiting, as if the entire world had forgotten what lay buried beneath the sand. For more than a decade, the Gilgo Beach murders haunted investigators until a name finally surfaced: Rex Heuermann. To his neighbors, he was just an ordinary man, a 59-year-old architect from Massapequa Park, a husband, a father, the kind of person no one would ever suspect. His house stood quietly on a suburban street, its blinds always drawn, its silence never broken. But behind those walls, detectives would later uncover a darker truth. Cell phone records, DNA from a discarded pizza crust, and online activity began to link Heuermann to the murders. Investigators discovered burner phones, disturbing internet searches, and a hidden obsession with the victims' profiles. The same man who designed office buildings in Manhattan was allegedly living a double life, one built on control, deception, and death. His co-workers described him as strange but professional. His neighbors said he barely spoke. Yet beneath that quiet exterior was someone capable of unimaginable horror. When police surrounded his home in July 2023, the illusion of normalcy shattered. Cameras flashed, sirens echoed, and the world watched as the man believed to be the Long Island serial killer was finally taken into custody. The mask was gone. The architect of other people's spaces had become the architect of his own downfall. July 13th, 2023. It was an ordinary Thursday morning in Manhattan until the news broke. Rex Heuermann, the man suspected of being the Long Island serial killer, had been arrested outside his office in Midtown. Witnesses said he looked confused, calm even, as officers surrounded him. In that moment, years of fear and frustration seemed to collide, a mystery buried in sand now dragged into the light. When police raided his home later that day, what they found was chilling. Boxes of evidence, more than 200 firearms, and a labyrinth of items that painted a picture of obsession and control. Across Long Island, people watched in disbelief. For over a decade, the Gilgo Beach killer had been a ghost, a shadow in the dunes. And now, he had a face. Families of the victims wept, not from closure, but from the raw mix of relief and pain that justice might finally begin. Reporters surrounded his neighborhood. Drones circled the sky. "We have our man," one headline read, but others warned, "What if we don't?" Because even with an arrest, the full truth of Gilgo Beach remained buried, tangled between facts, lies, and the haunting question that still echoes in every wave. Was he the only one? The waves return, slow, steady, and endless. Gilgo Beach looks peaceful again. The sun sinks into the horizon, painting the sky in soft gold and crimson. Tourists walk the shoreline unaware of the dark history beneath their feet. But for those who remember, the wind still carries whispers of the past. 13 victims, countless families, years of silence, fear, and unanswered questions. The ocean has seen everything. It swallowed secrets, erased footprints, and yet, somehow, it never truly hid the truth. Candles now flicker along the dunes. Names written in sand, Melissa, Megan, Amber, Maureen, and so many others, glow in the fading light. Their stories didn't end here. They became symbols of a fight for justice, of families who refuse to let the world forget. And as the tide rises, the names slowly fade, but not from memory, because Gilgo Beach will never again just be a beach. It's a reminder that evil can hide in the quietest places, and that even the calmest waters can conceal storms beneath their surface. When night finally falls, the waves take back the shore. Only the sound of the sea remains, soft, haunting, eternal. A voice that still whispers, "Remember us."